Assalamu alaikum and welcome to GunjurOnline on Dialogue with the Youth, so on GunjurOnline TV. Today is Wednesday, on the 7th of April 2021, and the time in the United Kingdom is about 7 o'clock, and the Gambia is about 6 o'clock. Eastern time is about 2 o'clock. Today we have one of the most important topics to discuss since this program started, and this is emotional, and it has to be reflective too. We have visionaries, young ladies, who thought about a loophole in our society, a loophole that is a taboo, and we are not thinking about it, but they carve out and come out with a visionary hindsight in order to highlight some of the problems that are affecting our country in effects from economic, political, and social. And without discussing these things, it will be unfortunate for a country in the 21st century to develop when almost more than half of that country's population are going through serious impediments in their lives. It's hindered their abilities to contribute fully into the running, the economic, the political, and the social life of their country. And we have this charity that is the ending period poverty in the Gambian schools. Before we go and introduce the organizers of this, or those who came up with this idea, we are going to talk about period. This is not a Gambian bread and butter topic that we talk about, but we leave this topic to the detriment of our own self, because period poverty is a real challenge facing our girls in the Gambia, and it is really, really devastating, the impact it is having on our girls, their life, their ability to be themselves, their self-esteem. For many, they're dealing with their period each month in a very, very tough, challenging situation. And this should not be the case in the 21st century Gambia. And what is even more sad about these things, we have stigmas around, and we don't talk about these issues, as well as affordability. But once we open up and talk about these issues, especially among men, it will benefit our country. It will benefit our girls. It will give them confidence and empower them to go through their life, what is deemed to be a natural process. To discuss this fantastic and emotional topic, I have the members of the charity, the EPPIS, And I will start with Fatou Taal, one of the founders of the EPP charity. Welcome, Fatou.
Hi, Ebrim. Thank you for having us.
Another one is our Yende, and our welcome to Dialogue with the Youth. So, thank you, Awa. And Yase from the Gambia, we're still echoing for some reason. I don't know why, but are you there, Yase?
Yombe is not right technical, so
yeah, Yombe is not right. Yes, that's fine. And we have our own brother, brother Ben. Welcome to Dialogue with the Youth. So, brother Ben.
Thank you very much for having me again. I think the echoing is coming from your side.
Oh, my side.
It's okay now. Sounds it's okay now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Maybe it's Fatou. Maybe you're echoing. Fatou Taal, he dropped out. I mean, maybe. Do you have any device open there?
No, they're all closed. I've turned them.
Okay. Yeah, but now we're not echoing again, So it seems, Do we have Yashay? Maybe she's struggling with her device, Yashay, okay? Oh, brilliant. Yashay, we can't hear you that much. I don't know, and it will be important to increase the volume of your device.
Okay, Ebrim, I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you. That's fine. Thank you so much. Fatou dropped, for some reason, and I think we're going to go ahead and start introducing ourselves. And I will start with our Yombe. And can you please introduce yourself to our viewers all over the place, and feel free, to speak any other Gambian language, because that is what is important, so that I will be intervening in Mandinka and maybe introducing the topics to people, and feel free to speak in Wolof, or English, or any language, especially Fula if we can, and Sarahule, so that the impact can go very far and our people can understand what we are talking about. But yes, our Yombe,
Hi, hello, good evening, Ibrahim. Thanks for hosting us, and to all our listeners. We're here to pitch a charity called Ending Period Poverty in Gambian Schools, and Fatou will touch more on the introductory side, and I'll take after that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Yase,
Hello, Ebrim, and hello to our beautiful listeners. Ebrim, it's really a pleasure to have us here, and this is very important as we need to break the circle. And in breaking the circle, you as the guys are very, very important. So we're delighted that you have us on this show, Ebrim.
Thank you, Yase. Your volume is still low for some reason. I don't know why, and it will be important if we can have you loud and clear. Brother Ben, hi. Can you please briefly introduce? You're not a stranger in GunjurOnline, and for our viewers all over the place. It's unfortunate Fatou is off anyway.
Oh, thank you very much, brother, for inviting us again. I am here to bring a male perspective of this very important topic, the period poverty. I am in support of this organization and of this move, and I want to encourage other male Gambians or non-Gambians to take interest in this discussion and to support the organization for what they are standing for, or any similar organization that is doing similar things that they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. Mbadi ngol mbal tentu lambal jayila janim bitala programo kono mbe min bi programme akumaya ta baba bakele bao kabiri nying programme start a dialogue with the youth so man programme kuma rinke mi ya lonka kumaya ta ko nying programme bao mfango la sisters sol mfango la wives sol mfango ba malu wala ko mi ya lonko pour ngatara equality because gender equity pour mobe kan mobe c'est la potentialité c'est contribute no la banko la nyami niya jibe fengo mi ya lonko ala ya dala natural process wala mu woti wala ka sunkutundingol bala bi pour la karango ibika keno in the Gambia and we are not talking about that mbika ko fango diamo we don't even think about it mbika mira la ko fango isolate especially ke kundal musol fana mi yalo not only mol maso to pour yalo ko be fango tankala wosi fa la nyaadile bar mol kamalu bimbe dunia tamal to musol fan kamalu fango mi yalo ko ila nyanto lomu ala la ke bala ko ala kudol ke kel bala nyame e kamalu fan ka sa ka kumofo pour ka diamu fan waya sabu dindin dol ka kurangol soto je waya sabu dindin wol ka bondi karamboto ila karambo ka tinya because of ila kuro e kamin for period barimbina kanin kacha tala ka kono fanundi so that nga molle soto mini ya lon ko mol bike min mira fam itoli wole mira sa fo itol mo visionary soleti pour se sungutundungol de mano nyaadile pour se nyimbari ya min bije ka homi tabu mbuka son ka diamu ni afo daming mol ya mira ko no it's not part of us pour nga wukana nga diamu pour kele ni musol kono nga lon ko fenno mi ya lon ka benna banko sendi kan ko male and this is the high time pour kana ko aussi ka diam wala kuroti ane kuro ka kenya dile e ka keno nya dile why dinngol bimbe duwa minto ibika soto mi ya lon ko be fa tankalala andi se kuran soto je so ni important baba ke pour ka nyin ko diam e jannim bitala na gesol kan ka ko fo ye embe fa wala sister kontonna Fatoumata Rahman Koka mbala program o jibela nobody can do this program better than her. Last time I was watching her program and she did fantastically well. I hope I came earlier before her. Now, she did a fantastic program. I'm saying part of anyway, nobody is like you. And I mean, at the Jallo, greetings to you. Say Assalamu alaikum. Fatma Alasan also, and Fatma Alasan say, well done to you all. Please share this video before we start, because this is timely. This is so important and it has to have an impact. And those who are here also, if you want to donate, this is the cause. Ramadan is coming. Don't send sugar, send pads. I'm telling you, and you will save life. Really speaking, sugar will cause people all kind of diseases and all those things. Well, if we send pad, we will save a girl's life. We will save these girls to go to have pride so that we can open up discussions and educate ourselves and our sisters and our fathers so that we can know there's something fundamental that we did know and is destroying that country. But, once again, Fatou, and you have to introduce yourself. I will start with you. How come? How did you think about you people? How did you come about it? Because this is the need that we all not thinking about it. When I watched Fatou Madam Koka's program, I was ashamed because to know that I'm even going, I'm in a society and these things are going, I'm not aware of it, is so embarrassing to me. And I pledge to myself that I'm going to be part of you people and I'm going to support you with everything that I can. I will go to Tesco's or all the shops and buy these things myself so that I can send it to you people. How do you come about with this? How did you? Because nobody talks about this anyway,
Okay, thank you so much, Ibrahim, for having us once again. EPPIS came about last year in the midst of the pandemic. So, it's something that came out of being, in a lockdown and, sitting in your room doing nothing. So, like I said all the time, I was chatting to a really good friend of mine who happens to be a guy, and we were talking about barriers to education for children in the Gambia. So he's a very, philosophical guy. So he was all about the theories and stuff like that. I'm like, no, there are other issues that, a lot of us are not looking into. So I explained to him that these are things like, just getting pads for girls to be able to sit in class the entire, 8 or 6 hours that they are there. without them being stained. Things like having bras to go to school, or even like participating in extracurricular activities like track and field, or things that have to do with running. So I said to him, one thing I'm going to do is, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll do something about it. So that's how it started. That's how I, pick up the phone and then call some of the ladies and say, look, this is the idea that I have, and I want to put it into reality to make sure that, no girl in the Gambia would miss out on school just because they are unable to afford sanitary pads. And also, no girl as well should miss out on school just because they do not have their, the education and the know-how and the knowledge to just like simply manage the pain that they're going through. Because once again, when we hear about period poverty, the first thing we think is someone lacks their financial means to purchase those pads. But it is beyond that. It is not just the lack of financial means to buy pads. It is also the lack of knowledge of how you take care of yourself when you are on your period. So if you do not know how to take care of yourself, that is also part of period poverty. If you don't know how to take care of the pain that you are going through, that is also part of period poverty as well. So it is a huge thing that is happening in the Gambia, but as a society, we tend to overlook it because it's not something that is there in our faces. But then again, if we all sit down, it is there in our faces. I think we just ignore it, because how many times have we been in classes where somebody sits down, get up, and they're scared of staying? How many times have we seen things like that? So it is something that we don't talk about because, like you said, it's such a taboo that society, it's a taboo. That's how I can say it. No, society does not talk about it. We tend to ignore it, and then it affects girls and their education in a very major way. Because when you miss out, every single day that you miss out on school, you are missing out on a lot. You are missing out on vital education that can help you to change the course of your life. So if we look at how many days a girl child is missing out on school every year, every month you have your period, and then every month you skip, let's say 2 days or 3 days. That is a lot of school hours that you were skipping on. So, that is how the charity started. And we want to help, girls to stay in school, achieve their full educational potential, and then, help develop the country that we are in.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Fatou. And I think Yase is struggling, to come in, and our Yombe also dropped out, for some reason. If the technician can help Yase, from the Gambia, that will be fantastic. Brother Ben, I am sitting in front of you here. I can admit that how ashamed I am, and I don't know how these girls, in the Gambia, my contemporaries from Gunjur Primary School to Muslim High School, how they even manage to hide this from us. But another thing is, how did they just pass their exams if they are going through all these things? And I wasn't even imagining anything like this happening to them because of lack of the education, information, and how I was shielded away from knowing what these people went through, but along the way, even though how strong they are, a lot of them miss out from their education. Some of them dropped out, some of them, I can remember, and I was a teacher before I came here. And they sleep sometimes in class, but we don't even know, might be the pain, the cramps, and all those things that is happening. How are you going to contextualize this from the men's perspective about this catastrophic, division of men from knowing, about their sisters, about their mothers, about their sisters and contemporaries? Is it so sad, Ben? Mr. Ben, come in, please.
Thank you, brother, for hosting us again. And I'll appeal if you can summarize some of our contributions into Mandinka, because the last time we had an opportunity to speak in Wolof on the other program. And as you said, we are in the course of that. The most important thing that our sisters have taken the initiative and we should compliment them as men. As this issue, it's not a woman only issue. It's a family issue. It's about our sisters. It's about our wives, and if it's about society itself. And the most important part is the education. And as we start to talk about this, we are doing one thing: is taking taking it out, not to be a taboo anymore. It's something that we should be comfortable to talk about. It's not something that anybody should be shameful of. And once we achieve that, we will be easily starting to make improvements by people talking about it and educate each other. But again, needless to say, there's a financial aspect of it, because we all know that we come from a society that is financially poor, that will need to support the people that are less fortunate in order for them to have the access to the parts, the products that they need. And as we said, it's not only for poor people, but it's for every Gambian and every person to be helpful with. And the most important part of it is education. And as we go down the line, our sisters would educate us more about the other aspects and other things that needed to be known. What I will start to appeal for is for brothers to start to listen and to engage, to be courageous, to break this taboo, and to make sure we are part of the solution to the problem.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I think men will really get involved, as because when you are ignorant, and you don't know what is going on, and you hear these sisters discussing these things, and you feel the same as I was, and with Madam Coker, and I hope men all over the place. I have men friends who are watching this program. I want you to listen, and not be confined or be imprisoned by some of the taboos, some of the dogmas, and all those things, and then the cultural issues that is impeding us from our progress. We need to discuss these things. We need to break the taboos. We need to break the barriers so that at least we can understand. We are fathers now. I have girls here, and I want to be part of their life. So it is important we do this. And dung jenim bitala mbadi ngol mbali temtula mbali jaila wala mombe ko min kacha kambi akumaya ta baba bakele bawo wati o wati se ko be kacha musolla kata minela yili so ikaminje mbuka wol kacha sako ke kundalu mbuka lo min bekering bor nyinnon ko timi ya lonko aka musolla karango tinya dindingol ni wati ibe period je kan wala mila yili soti wala kuro ni la fitala ibikata karambungo to bawon na karambungol ibe jamin sungudundingol gwan dobi je aka koleye bul bawo momi man domoro fango soto pour ya faye ko ay fengo sanga sa fango tankano minna ka fomi aida pado sanitary towel sol nim fengol mi ya lon ka se sutura no dobi je o ka kole ala no nima soto no ike fonyole ibikata karambungo ni a jibe sometimes about nearly 20% of ila school life ko be ke suo kono le bikate la karola ndu is just the minimum lamwoti bari modoli ta katambi wala so bari ni wo keta imale be minkela wo kataraje dol fanan hannen tarunu ye woli soto bari man karango soto man information soto be famo manage la nyaadi le be nyin control la no nyaadi so ni wo keta no nyimu natural process leti mi ya lon ko na man ta e role ka nyanda role la nyami probably ten inte be man tara la jamba on dol be la life ka emanate from somewhere ale wala mum baliti so nyim balleti na sister solle kata turo nyinda nyim mol mi albe be nyaato ten nyim mus fondin kel ya kate ni miro na rami ya lon ko mol bi ka wo mira mbika wo fangoma andi ni wona da so sa embe min kela wolam ke makoy ke support pour ka ni sulata minna ka nyim fengol di la mi ya lon ko se fondin kel ni ya lon ko na musol na dingol ni na sister sol pour se tankano nyami inata wala jam but janim bitala woto I would start with Yase we are talking about period and anyway, which is menstruation, but what is this menstruation? What is period? Menstruation, we keep talking about it and all those things, tell us, what is it, especially me, maybe I know the word, I can spell it, I can talk about it, occasionally, but what does it entails? Yeah, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can
you not
hear you.
very well, but we can hear you. Can you? Yes, Yase.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you very much. As you just said, we're talking about period menstruation. So when we hear period, what do we hear? It's a periodical thing. That means it happens all the time. So this happens monthly, on average,
Can
every 28 days in a girl's life. So when we talk about menstruation, is a normal philosophy that happens from menarche. When we talk about menarche, usually it depends on the girl. Some girls start as early as 9 years, some start 13 years, but on average, usually menstruation starts at 13 years and it goes up to menopause. That is when it stops. So in short, it can happen about 40 years of a woman's life. So when we're talking about the point of contention here, period poverty, I know a lot of people were asking, how can you end poverty in Gambian schools? When we, hello,
Hello, Yase. Yes,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yes,
can you hear me? I
Yeah,
know, so yeah,
yeah, we can hear you.
yes,
It's
we
not
did.
loud enough, but we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So I was talking about period poverty. Usually, when people look at the flyer or something, they're like, "How can you stop period poverty in schools?" When we're talking about period poverty does not only stop at the lack of or inability to buy sanitary products, that's the sanitary towels or the pads, but it also involves the sanitation, the toilet facilities, access to water, and even disposal. Because what happens is if the girl child has a pad in her bag that she can change, but at school she does not have the toilet she can change, then there is period poverty. She cannot clean herself, she cannot change her pad. So that is period poverty.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Yase. Thank you, Yase. I'm just going to go to our Yombe. Our and I know Yase talked to us briefly about menstruation and how early it can come. Especially now it can come as early as 9 months and all those things. You people figure these things out, and you saw the impact it is causing, on our girls, on their education. But if this is happening to girls that have no disability, what about the people with disability? Because disability by itself is a taboo thing, is something that people are ashamed of it even still today. But you people were so major, and you said, not only, period poverty, but we have to start with the very, very disadvantaged people of our societies. Can you talk to us about how you start these things, where you initiate your project and all those things, and with the intention of expanding into other areas? Go ahead, Awa.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Like you said before, period poverty, sometimes when we, in society, when we're dealing with stuff, we tend to forget I call them the differently abled, who are marginalized by our society every day. And because we factored that in setting up this organization, knowing that those people, if it's difficult for people to access it, maybe at a ratio of probably 1 to 10, theirs would be higher because number one, they've got a disability, and number two, they might not have access to it. And sometimes if it becomes very difficult, the parents might choose, like, why am I even sending my child? They're not going to amount to anything. But every child matters regardless of who you are or what disability you've got. A child should have the right to being in education, staying in education, and having the right sanitary facilities on site whilst they are in schools or institutions. That being the case, we factored in all that, and we said we're going to start with St. John's School for the Deaf to be our pilot project, and sponsor the girls for a whole year by supplying them with sanitary products, and then going into the schools and talking to them about feminine hygiene. Because when we talk about period poverty, it's not only down to like being able to buy sanitary wear, it's about when they get those products, how do they use it? How do they prevent themselves from having infections and other things? Are the school facilities conducive for them to be there and be able to change themselves or use the restroom when needed? So this is going to be like a nationwide project, but at the moment we're going to be starting with St. John's School for the Deaf. We've spoken to them and written letters, and they were happy to come on board, and they were very like appreciative of the fact that we're going to be going there and helping the girls in that school. And then over time, it will be rolled out all over the country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic. Gambians should be proud of you people, really speaking, because the marginalized in our societies, that's where you started this fantastic initiative. And we cannot just be proud of you. And what we want is for people to share this video and so that so that it can reach us to as many people as you. If you have a male friend, tag him so that he can come and watch these things, because these has to be, there need to be a society-wide approach, to bust these taboos, and education programs which address the shocking reality that too many girls, in our communities goes through, sometimes because of lack of knowledge, sometimes because of cost effect and all those things. Because I was a teacher, and I regret these things anytime I reflect on it. And one of the students, for some reason, stopped having some stains and all those things, leakages here, and everybody just talking about it. And then I was in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to approach it. And what the only thing that we can do is, for the school bell to go and everybody went. It was only me and her. Just imagine, and I was just clueless. I didn't know what to do. Only to go to the next compound to ask them to come and help me. So these are some of the things that our sisters, our daughters goes through. And it shouldn't be like that. Men should be educated equally to understand these menstrual issues, the period poverty, and the impact on our society. But Fatou, I will get back to you. Why is it a problem? When we don't know about, or we don't give education about the period poverty or menstrual educations, or the menstrual hygiene management. Why it is a problem?
Okay. If we look at the issue of period poverty, it's not something that girls in the Gambia are only going through. It is a global issue. If you look at the statistics, you have around 500 million women and girls that are living in period poverty each month across the globe. And then, 1 in 10 women as well women and girls cannot afford to buy, safe hygienic sanitary pads. So it is not something that is only, affecting the, underdeveloped countries or undeveloped countries rather, but it is a global issue. It is happening to, developed countries or what we consider the best of societies. So in terms of, the issue around it, if it's not addressed, we are seeing more and more girls getting enrolled into school, into primary education, and that is fantastic. But if you look at the attainment levels from primary 5, 6, and then upwards, it starts to go down. So are we looking, what is the reason? Why are girls' attainment levels going down once they reach to primary 5, primary 6? And period poverty is one of the issues, because you are being absent from school, you are not, attending as you are supposed to, and your attainment levels start to, to plunge. And then, once you start, missing out on school, like Ben said earlier, we have a lot of people that are, below, their economical means are not, that favorable. They do not have the means to provide these sanitary pads for their kids. So if you have a family or a parent who is struggling to buy these sanitary pads for their children, and now the child starts missing out on school. So if the parent is not too, is not like a pushy parent or too invested in, helping the child gaining education, they will be like, okay, I'm paying for your tuition fee and you are not going to school, so it's better for you maybe to sit at home. You can have these, you can have these things happening as well. And it also, it also contributes to girls getting married early as well, because if you're not going to school, you start, you're gonna drop out at the end of the day. If you drop out, and then okay, so what next for me? We do not have any aspirations, you don't have anything to do, so you can go down that lane to say, okay, I'm just going to get married and stay at home. So these are these are things that can happen if we do not address issues like this. Girls' attainment level is going to go down. A lot of women won't be able to provide for themselves because they don't have the the education to they do not have the knowledge to further their education. So I think these are things that we need to address in order for gender disparity to become something that is of the past, because women are natural, we shouldn't say naturally, but it is what it is. Like we are just born into a world where we do not have the same rights or the same how should I call it, to be able, the means to be able to succeed as much as men are doing. So
Yes, thank you so much. This is that situation is not natural. It's designed by cultures and countries.
Society, yeah.
Society designed that deliberately, to kind of suppress women and put them into a second-class citizenship chair. Even though we say they are moms and sisters and all those things. And before coming to Ben, I have some brave men, that are coming. Saying Bamba Toure says, a very educated, congratulations. And Buba Barrow said, this is a great initiative worthy of supporting. I compliment the organization for coming out on these noble ideas. Bravo. Please expect my support. Definitely, we welcome your support, Buba. And I have to be radical with this. Please, you can contribute to your money, this Ramadan, coming to these people, than sending sugar, and all those things. Might be rice to other people, but don't send sugar. Buy pad, buy all the sanitary things, and these people, we will come to that. They provide underwear also for girls, and they give them education. But Brother Bob, Ben, sorry, how can we normalize menstruation and break down and destroy the taboo, especially among men? Can you just elaborate on that for us, please?
Thank you very much. As we said, education is key, awareness is key, and especially when it starts from schools. But again, we bring the discussion on this level, where we parents and brothers will be talking about this. Now, once we open up this discussion, we'll be comfortable in talking to our own siblings and about the issue. But we'll talk about ourselves, about the responsibilities that we have and the understanding. That's where it starts to break. And again, what the education does is it's to make people aware. It's not only about women and their normal biological build. It's not only that. It entails a lot. What does it entail? I'll just touch on three points here, and after I'll touch on the other points as I see it from a male perspective. This is about leadership. If most people that will become leader, they would have from the beginning where they grow their confidence, their self-esteem. It's very important. And what this period poverty does to people is they will lose confidence. They will lose their self-esteem. They will not feel that they're equal. And if at that age, formation age, they don't feel equal to men, feel the confidence they need to have, the self-esteem, they will not project themselves. And if they're late to project themselves, it might be too late. Why is it too late? They might get to a level that they will be abused because of that lack of self-esteem. And once they become a victim of abuse, it starts to develop to other things in life. If we're not careful, that's how they would lose their life for who they should be. It's about equality, so that they will understand the importance of what they're going through, and they will be able to manage it. They will have the information and take care of themselves and not feel bad about it and treat it as normal. But again, it's about their potential. Just imagine how many women are not meeting their potential because of period poverty. As you said, a conservative estimate 20%. I don't think, probably 30%. But in poor countries, you might even say it's over 50%. How many? Let's look at Gambia as a case. How many households in Gambia can provide sanitary towels and whatever it comes with? Not only provide it, how many Gambians would have the education that is required? And once that they are missing school, or they might even be in school, but they are missing in lessons because they are not comfortable. And once they're not comfortable, subconsciously, a lot of things are going into their mind. One thing they're not doing, they're not learning. And how many times would that affect them in the period of school? It happens every month in most cases. That's the regular cycle, and probably 4 to 5 days. That is actually affecting women. And once men understand this issue, before we jump on to say that why we don't have women leaders in politics, why do we don't have women leaders here or there, let's remember it starts from somewhere. It starts from the formation age, where they will have the confidence to stand up to themselves, confidence to the self-esteem to know their value, to avoid, to protect themselves, to avoid to be abused, and to be able to carry themselves in society and know that they are equal and they are special for that matter, because God gave them that special features and the biology in order to bear us. And once we do that, that's where men will know the importance and to understand again, who are we talking about? We're not talking about aliens. We are talking about us. That's why I said it's not about women issues. It's about societal issues, about family issues. We're talking about my daughter, talking about my wife. And some people, their mothers, they're still at that age. Then it's important then for them to understand again that they need to meet their potential. Then there are a lot of women that have failed in schools. Probably what contributed into their failure in schools, it's period poverty. Probably that led them to lack the self-esteem, the confidence to assert themselves, and the attendance at school, or even attendance, to capture what they need to capture, and down the line they become victims of society. And in order to stop that, it should be yesterday, but at least better late than never. Thank you.
I'm going to say is what I am going to say is the to have your period, it's not a choice. This is a fact of life, and this menstrual cycle makes the world go round. It does make the world go round. Because of menstruation. So for that being the case, we need to approach this openly and break these barriers and all these taboos, that are hindering our women, that are hindering our girls, our daughters and sisters from attaining their potentials. They drop out from school. If we are talking about women empowerment, if we are talking about gender equity, these are some of the things that we need to approach, and forcefully, especially from men's perspective. Mbadiŋol mbal tentula mbali jayila bimbe programme min na kumayata baba bakele bawo mbe nyin duniya tembo min to bi sungutundin jamalu min yalon ko be karamboto ila karamo bikatano in the Gambia, because ibika ila kurol wala ila hili soli kamini je wala tibabol ka for me ila period or ila menstruation, na sita watu wati dobi je bika fengol soto be fang sutura no min woya sabu bika ta karamboto yesiso kono andu la karam ka tinya woto ni nata fanani mi ye dang tija sol bika wota because tija jama mu kelleti wol fang bika wo mira fang comme ni molu fenne soto mi ya lon ko wala ya sabu man na karamboto and this aje dindi wol fanang e kamalu because of the shame because of nga taboo min create e kamalu pour ka fo mole ko nga period le so hani fan wulu balo ka dunte fal wol fola e kamalu ka foye andu dobi je hanni danu ya foye bale wal ka min foye alisi alka ta karamboto sila nata mol soto mini ya lon ko really fondinke musol e nyimmiro soto ko nyinde be caring in the Gambia andu ya kumasi damin wolo mu mol mi ya lon ko ila njurol soto nyaal nim fengol to bu society kan nyina min la dobi je ya commence wo su kudun dingol lel ba hanne tan no minimal la njuro soto inon tolla society be nyami kan nyina wala sa ko minne la njuro o nyim wato ko no nata wala nata jam pour at least nse nyim ko ta nga commence ka kacha so that in base along ko nyim manke kutumi ya lon ka nyanta mal ko kel en num be ba on kan nyina la because nte be jam no nene ma mira ko nyanta parts and la nga sen in the Gambia fo biri nga nyini la programme oji ngaje ko dobi je nka time waste kodol min kunto kato atal nim fengol sanna it can save a girl's life because not only binala jele not only ka karamuto e bikata jela karanka tinya ni ajibe karuo karilo munyinti ni ajibe moli yafo mini yalon ko karannallo muyti iko is about nearly average use about 9,000 sanitary pad na tarno ibika killing take use ika wala use wobe mu kodoleti so saying hakilo bawo ngani long definitely karwo kari mbe fenki lal hande ndanumbe de minekela pour ngata ngapad minki maybe abe moma ko ilale mi ya lon ko asala karango continue so nyimu kulete mi akumaya ta baba kele al programme o nyin seya asete futa molla and in fe wofen nothing every little help ne tala soto ne dalasi soto ne 1 pound soto ne 5 pounds nyini ma ko yake je ani ni part finance soto ibe information o dile lale ni lafte sa part ma seniye pour sa di dinde wala and all those things I'm going to go to Yasei Yasei and you please as a midwife educate us because it doesn't mean what we believe the moment a girl has a period or see a period even if he is 5 years or 6 years is ready to get to be given out for giving the hand to marriage or probably inviting and that's she's mature enough to or sexually she's ready to be approached and all those things tell us about those misconceptions because I think that is the yardstick that some people use now you can't fatale or now you're big enough because you're seeing your period then you have to go to marriage or whatever. Can you tell us what are some of the things that you come across as a midwife about period, about early marriage, about people measuring people because of their period and all those? It doesn't matter what time that comes. It can be 9 years, it can be 8 years. I cannot imagine my 8-year girl getting married because she see their period. Yes, Yase, go ahead.
Hello, Ibrahim.
Yes, you're going fine. Go ahead, Yase.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you very much. As you rightly said, there are a lot of myths and taboos surrounding menstruation, especially in the Gambia, and this tend to hinder period menstrual hygiene and management. So what happens is the moment a girl starts menstruating, this is the start of maturity. We all know the primary and the secondary sexual characteristics because we know when a girl child is developing, the breasts start coming out, there's hair around the armpit and the private parts, then we know a girl child is developing. So menstruation starts. So when menstruation starts, this is an indication that the girl can get pregnant because now the body has started releasing eggs. And we know we have the female reproductive garments and the male reproductive garment. And the female reproductive garment that is responsible for reproduction is the female egg. So what happens is if the menstruation has started, this means the woman has started releasing eggs. and if she has any sexual intercourse with a man that has the sperm, if these two come in contact, then reproduction can occur. But what happens is we don't put our girl child to talk to them exactly what this means, because we just tell them, okay, now you have started seeing your menstruation. If a man touches you, you will get pregnant, which is very misleading, because now if the girl child goes, a man touches her, she sees she's not pregnant, she will try another thing. What I usually say is things have evolved and we have to evolve around things. We know now, since the advent of social media, now to get information is very, very quick. So the kids can have their mobile phones, and we know not all of this internet give adequate information. So now that rests on the parents to put the girl child down when the girl child has started menstruation, to take that opportunity to talk to the girl child about period management, the hygienic part of it, and how she will get pregnant, by explaining it to the girl child. Because if you just tell the girl child, if a man touches you, you will get pregnant, that will not happen. And the moment a girl starts, although she has now the garments for reproduction, but her internal organs are not well developed, like the uterus, the pelvis, that is supposed to carry the baby. So what happens if this girl is given early marriage? What happens is they have obstructed labor, and research have shown that people that get married too early are the ones that really face a lot of complications during labor. Because what happens is the pelvis is not very grown, and the internal and external organs have not really matured. So for complications to occur becomes really, really early. So Ibrahim, that is why EPPIS is not only stopping at providing sanitary pads to these girls, no. But what we do is we engage the schools in health education. Ibrahim, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you,
Yes.
Yase, very well.
Yes,
Yes.
we also encourage the schools health education based on the school's curriculum, whether we can go a monthly or every quarter. So Ibrahim,
Mm.
this health education does not only stop at giving them the pad. Okay, what happens after they have been given the pad? Because we know a lot of people cannot even know how to use the pad. So we need to tell them how to properly use the pad, how to properly place them. Because if you have a pad and it's not properly placed, you will end up staining your skirt. So
Mm.
if we teach them how the pad is properly placed, and what is menstruation, how does menstruation occur, why does it occur, and how often it occurs, so that at least the girls can prepare themselves. We go to the extent of teaching the girls their menstrual cycle. We know we only talk about menstruation. Menstruation is about 2 to 9 days, depending on the woman. But on average, women menstruate for 5 days. But we're talking about menstruation, the period that is a whole month, depending on the woman. Some women have very short cycle, that is 21 days. But on average, every woman sees menstruation after every 28 days. So we teach these girls their cycle. At least if you know your cycle, you will not just menstruate at school without knowing. But if it is 2 days to your menstruation, you will know, okay, I am actually on the 26th day. In 2 days' time, 28 days, I'll see my menstruation. Then we advise them that at least every girl should have a pad in their bag. So one of the things that keep girls out of school is also the pain, because when they have pain, our society teaches them that it's normal for women to undergo pain. So usually they don't drink anything, they just lie down in bed, or they're even forced to do house chores, because it's like you're the some menstruation, the fajar teda. So you understand all of this. So we also teach them about pain management, because we know we have the
Mhm.
pharmacological management and the non-pharmacological management. So in the
Yeah.
non-pharmacological management, we teach them how to be taking hot water fluids during their menstruation, how to use hot water bottles. If they don't have hot water bottles, how to use towels, put them in warm water and put them around their abdomen, how to do exercises that will help ease the pain, and how to also take analgesics like paracetamol, brufen when they are in pain, and when to also go to the health facility, because we also do not just advise them to take pain meds randomly, but also because we know there are other disorders of menstruation that happens, that you really need to see your doctor. So the other important aspect that we teach them is menstrual hygiene management, because when you talk about menstruation, people see it as a dirty thing, and that people are dirty. Some will not even allow you to cook at home. So we tell them, okay, when to change your pad, because it's saying at least a woman or a girl menstruating should change her pad 3 times, minimum of 3 times. But we know no two women are equal. Some women have a higher flow. So if you have a higher flow and you use a pad that is very thin, you're likely for the pad to get filled up and your scar to get stained. So all of these things are taught to them how to clean up themselves. That is why in the package it also involves towels, like disposable towels that they can use to wipe themselves dry and put on their pad. So that is actually what we do to educate these girls and the proper disposal. Because if you could remember the starting, we were saying period poverty does not only stop at the inadequacy to actually have these products, but also to have the right sanitation, to also it also includes proper waste disposal. Because when we know if these guys use the sanitary pad and just randomly throw them in a toilet, it can also cause blockages. So we also educate them on the proper disposal. We also know not everybody uses the disposable pad. People use the reusable pads. So the reusable pads are these absorbent materials that girls use. So we also encourage them on the management of these things. We're not saying it's bad because research have shown that menstrual products too causes a lot of waste around. So people are actually going into reusable pads. But these reusable pads too, how do we, whether it's a cloth, whether it's a towel that is sewn, but what's more important is how you take care of it. So we also advise the girls how to take care of it, how to dry them. Because Ibrahim, another thing is our culture does not allow us to display these things. If a girl just display this in the middle of the house, your mother will say these are things that nobody should see. Okay, if you do not want to display it whereby there will be direct sunlight, what we advise them is even if you dry them at room temperature at your house, before you use them, you should actually iron them, because we say microorganisms that usually cause infections like the environment when it is damp. So if these cloth are not well dried and they become damp, they can lead to complication. So our health education surrounds those parts, because we feel if these things are not addressed, we have the health implications of period poverty. We the short term and the long term. The short term, the girls can have yeast infection, they can have fungal infection, they can have reproductive and urinary infection. The reproductive infections, if not taken care of, Ibrahim, it can lead to infertility. And the urinary infections, if not taken care of, it can ascend to the kidneys and it can even cause kidney failure. So you see the importance of health education. If all these informations are given to the girls at the right time, we feel a lot of things can be taken care of, Ibrahim.
Thank you so much. That's so educative. And once again, Sam Bello says, bravo. I so much appreciate this step. I fully support you. And I am making that this year I'm not going to send any sugar or anything else. I'm going to donate my money to these people because this is a worthy cause. This is saving girls' life anyway. And so our Yombe, talk to us about the menstrual cycle and how we can manage our menstruation without fear or discomfort, because this is what we are talking about, so that we can break the barrier, so that girls can know their menstruation cycle. They can know the signs before the distance, because I'm not sure whether it just comes without giving you any warning and all those things. Can you talk to us about those, please?
Thank you, Ibrahim. For a long time, girls have been told to keep quiet and manage their period in silence. And there's no counter message to tell the girls that this is what to expect, this is how to look after yourself when you're on your cycle and stuff like that. So before a girl, there's always like what's called the days leading up to your menses. It differs from person to person. Like for some girls, they would have like tender breasts, or they'll be craving for certain foods, or they'll be like having PMT, premenstrual tension and stuff like that, becoming very snappy and all that. So we need to teach the girls all those things. It might not happen to every girl, but we can teach them the broader sense of what's happening before the period and what that is a sign to say that you are nearing to your period, because before the period comes there's ovulation. Ovulation is the time where when a girl and a man, or a woman and a man, have like a rapport sexually, and there's a fertile egg, that's when pregnancy takes place. And you need to tell the girl, like, explain to them everything surrounding that, because in society, girls are taught, like, oh, when you start your menses, because it's a taboo, that nobody teaches them what to expect and everything. Like, your mother or whoever is the caregiver of that girl could just say to them, now when you go near a boy or a man, you're gonna become pregnant, which obviously is the wrong thing to tell them. You need to sit them down, prep them well before, because there are signs that your child, like Zainabu said, is becoming a matured woman or a young lady. So we're encouraging parents and caregivers to be open about menstruation. It's a natural reoccurrence. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Because in fighting period poverty, there's something that's called the toxic trio. And one of them is the cost of the sanitary products. I'll bring it down to an economic sense. It's not the fact that they don't have the money to buy the sanitary product. There might be the money to buy it, but what's the cost of buying that sanitary product at the expense of putting food or buying clothing for the family, or even somebody needing medical attention, buying medication? So the buying sanitary products will always be the foregone alternative, which is like the opportunity cost within certain households. And the other one is the lack of education about period. And girls aren't being taught about what works, and as a result, few are aware of what a healthy period is and what an unhealthy period is. Because some girls, they just think that, okay, maybe I don't have a heavy flow, maybe I've got a heavy flow, but that minimal flow could be a sign of a blockage that you don't know about, that could result in major health problems, and even could cause death, because you don't know what's happening within your body. Unless you seek medical attention, you might not be able to know what's happening. And for some girls have heavy flow, but they need to be taught what is normal for a heavy flow. Because if you have really heavy clots coming out of you, you could be anemic and not even know it. It could be a sign of like bleeding disorder, because some people suffer from bleeding disorder and don't even know it. But because it's something that's not being discussed within society and even in the medical field. How many people, when you go to a hospital with period pain, it's the usual, oh, take some paracetamol or ibuprofen or whatever pain method is available. They just brush it under the carpet. So we're trying to encourage people to be open about these things. It's not a taboo. Speak about it. In speaking about it, that's when people get to know what happens around that time of the month for every girl, every woman. And in the terms of like bringing it down to like an education sense, we want to get the boys, our male counterparts, involved. Because if you happen to be in a mixed school and boys themselves are not being taught about what goes on around the life of a girl at a certain time of the month, if a girl has an accident in school, it becomes very embarrassing. And many times the boys would be making fun of the girl, not because of it being intentional, it's the lack of awareness. So we want to not only educate the girls, but educate the boys as well.
Very, very good. You know, I'm so proud of you, ladies, really speaking. You know, batting on coming off on yamin janin bitala fatuya wala mumbe min kacha kan bi wala mu musol ka program also to na dindingol na sunkutundingol ila karango katinya sunkutundin jama ka abaka drop out from school ibikata because of ikamalule, because ni la nyi watu le site la yilsol site la kuro site watu minna ibika kodo soto puruka ifango tankano, you know, and among education of finance soto ba momi karandala do we say bali from katara dindia in some of the mothers will from along what this entails. Probably I will say at some point I some of the interaction as a midwife with some of the moms, that don't even know their period, and all those things, moreover to educate anybody else. So especially because we don't think about these things. If not, sometimes sika 5 pound or min tebe atada masana when it do some good thing of see staff of among parts of taba from but I'm maluta ka for ye, but you are a man as a man, if it has a gun atas and you don't think about nyim sitanyo nyindala because I still tell so much so that aman na coming for it because of the taboo and barrier create on these things. So we need to unlock these barriers, these taboos. Fatou, I'm coming back to you is the causes of this the period poverty. You can talk to us about that and the effect, the impact the period poverties have on the status of our girls in the Gambia specifically. But you are mute, yeah? Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes, you are back now. Go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you once again for having us here today. I'm glad Yase earlier talked about how once you start your period, it doesn't mean that your organs are fully developed inside. Because I think that's the misconception a lot of us have, like back in Gambia, that once a girl starts having her period, she is, she has become a full-grown woman and she is able to, get married and have children and all that. So I'm glad that she talked about that. So, and this is where we also need men on board, because if you are ahead of your household, like we know and how we grew up in the Gambia, nothing happens in the house without your say so. So if we get fathers to understand that having your period doesn't mean that the child is biologically ready to carry a child, then that will also cut down on a lot of girls being pushed into forced marriages and early marriages. So it is very important for us to have fathers on board, to have men on board as well. And you also talked about the importance. It is very important for parents to bond with kids to a level that they are able to open up to them, like Yombe said earlier on. It is important for them to be able to have those conversations, because growing up, a lot of us came from households where you hear your father's engine from afar and you start running. That is not healthy.
No.
If you have a environment that if the environment that you're growing up is that toxic to the point you hear your father's car coming and you start running, you won't be able to talk about a lot of things. And a lot of us girls do not bond with our fathers because of that. That like there's a wall. You are not supposed to talk to your father about certain things. We're not saying for men to be forgive me for the language, be changing pads and stuff like that. No, we're just trying to say bond a little bit with these girls so that they are able to open up to you. If you need a pad, you should be able to open up to your father and say, Dad, can I have $10? Can I have 50? Can I have this? To get a packet of pad. But we result into keeping quiet and not even asking for this money to get sanitary pads, because we do not have that relationship with our fathers. So it is very important for children to be able to talk to their parents. Like in Wolof, they say, hale bumla, what's the word again? Help me out. Hale bumla yap, wantata minala nyeme be muna wahayo. So, the child should not be scared of you. A child should be respectful, yes. But then to the point that the child is scared of you, that is unhealthy. And it leads to girls, because I had this conversation with a young lady, because once I started setting this up, I'm like, okay, let me also talk to young girls to see where their head is at and what they're thinking. She said to me, I'm not going to lie to you. I have friends who have, quote unquote, sugar daddies that help them with money so that they can be able to get sanitary pads. As parents sitting at home, you would be thinking that your child will resort to going out to being in a relationship with older men who will be able to provide these, what we term as like little things that they need. So I think it is high time for us as a society to open up to our children, to open up so that we can bond with them and talk to them, and they can talk to us as well, and not be scared to ask for something like a sanitary pad. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Fatou. That's really important for fathers, to come up, and as you said, the sugar daddies, you have to go and show a very nice and pretty face for your young ladies, but at home you don't even want to talk to your wife, moreover your daughters, and on all those things, to the extent that they are scared. Go ahead.
It puts these young girls in harm's way as well, because you are going to the extent of being with these people. You don't know where they come from, what diseases they're carrying, and it leads to sexual violence as well, because these people can rape you for one day, can do whatever. Where are you going to complain that to?
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. You don't have that relationship with your parents to come and say that. So
exactly.
I think it's high time we definitely need the fathers on board. We're not saying get deep into this, but at least it is a conversation that needs to be happening in the homes. It is a it is a topic that should be open for discussion, at least.
Definitely, especially this has some health component also to it. Imagine the girls, going through all this pain, and they don't even have anybody else to talk to about their pains and their experiences, especially if it is the first time in their life they're seeing all these strange developments in their body. Brother Ben, I have to come to you. I think it's not only this. We have to blame Gambian men. I think they are among the most useless men. I'm sorry to say, but the thing is, when we had some maternal mortality, the rate of it in the Gambia, what we discover is most of these men, the women, even though they're from the provinces and all those, they only come out with their grandmothers or the husband's sisters or the husband's mom and all those things to the hospital. These old men, old women, see strangely themselves, they've never been in Banjul, and now they accompany somebody who is going through all these complications, and men don't go until if there is a problem, they have to call them all the way from provinces, for example, to come and all those things. Here they are also, they don't get involved in these things. They don't want to know about it and all those things. I know there are taboos there. I know there are societies, impediments that are there, and lack of information and lack of education. But any of these things, we transfer this to women. We say is women affair. We don't go there and all those things. We discover some of the men, even if they want blood for their women, their pregnant women, who needs blood, for some reason they don't want to give blood. They will prefer to go and buy blood than even give blood from their blood. So all these things, there's a lot of education to go on, and then about Gambian women, Gambian men, especially in the Gambia, because when we come here.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, again. As we said, the more you look at this this initiative, the more you see the importance of it, and you come to understand. Yes, it's about period poverty, but the impact it's going to have in our lives. As you said, where we have the maternal mortality rate going up, where we have our wives given labor and we are absent from the labor room. That's a cultural thing because we are not allowed. We have to blame ourselves, men, but we have to blame society for that matter. It's a cultural thing. Women would not even allow us to be part of the process. And not only to be in the labor, but in the process of pregnancy. But again, that's why it's important to be taught early, to have awareness, to be taught early, to have the empathy. It comes down to empathy again. If we at a school age, as children growing up in schools, when we interact with our sisters, our colleagues at school, and we started to learn about their biology and the effects and problems they face, we will start to have that empathy. And as we go through that, when we interact, married, and obviously consider that married and have children, it would have already been built in. that empathy would have been built in, and awareness would be there. We will know what to do, what is expected of us, and it become normalized. Normalized that we'll be into every level of the pregnancy. From when it's conceived, we want to know how they feel, how they're going through it. I mean, even if they had to have classes or whatever, we will be part of it. And to the maternity room, we'll be there, especially when they have experiencing complications. And I know the midwife among us will teach us this or share this with rest of us. The importance of a partner being in the room when they're going through that difficult part of their life of giving life. These are very important things. And that's why I said the passion I've seen in this initiative with the people that are founders of this initiative encourages me, and knowing the importance that we have as male to play in this. But again, knowing the reluctance of African male, Gambian, to be sitting and talk about this, I take my from my whatever schedule I have to be part of this and to give it my own, so that to be part of the peer leadership that would encourage this conversation to be have, so that we male, the men will be educated and be aware and will be part of the process. This is how important this program, this initiative is. And as we said, another most important part, just as I said earlier, the more I listen to this, I am educated, then I started to think out of the box, because the hygiene part of it, it's not about only giving out pads, but the hygiene, what does it do? The education that the girl child will have to know how to keep themselves hygienic. That's very important. But again, to recognize all the things, because bleeding can be caused by many things. If they do not engage in this, their biology class in school doesn't tell them all that. But if they have this interaction with the midwife, interaction with people that will tell them, and this is where they can learn a lot. When they see something different from colorization or anything, and some of the infections they might have, they'll have someone to talk to them about. And we have to remember bad habits. Most of parents probably are taught by their parents, and they still have what they were taught. Most of it probably they're not relevant nowadays, or they are bad habits, but they are passing on to the bad habits. If we don't intervene and re-educate or educate the young ladies, what are we doing? That bad habits will continue in a very important issue like this issue. And again, I'll just touch this to remind the initiators. There's an area they're looking at as well, a peer help, where they will train senior girls to be able to help in the process of help the other younger girls in schools. The importance of that would be, again, to bring in something very important, the solidarity between women, that fraternity. That would be very important to have. But another part, Ibrahim, I'll have to re-echo, is the area that you talk about male to be aware to the extent of knowing the cost involved, because especially at a lower disadvantaged levels where they have not much disposable income will have men will prioritize their cigarettes. You're talking about attire. They might prioritize their cigarettes. But once we realize that part of our salary now, our package, my daughter is 12 years old, 13 years old, and there's an added cost to the house expense. Probably they'll be away. And that's why it's important. And we'll be surprised again when we talk about this. There's a two-tier system. There are parents who are affluent and less aware. There are parents who are financially poor and aware, and some are financially poor and not aware. Just imagine how the disadvantages they have. Now, in those households, the money, finance matters. If they don't have support, if the husband does not have the education, I mean, they will lack that empathy, or they will lack the consciousness to know that now my daughter is 13, or my daughters, some of them might have 2 or 3 who would need this help. I think that will help them to take the informed decisions that, in fact, I have to quit smoking because I would rather spend this on my child's needs than to smoke. And there's something that is increased in the pocket. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Ben.
Informative. And I think, Fatma Alassan says Auntie Hadimboj is watching. And welcome, Auntie Hadimboj. We appreciate it really, really well and for you to be watching this fantastic initiative by this fantastic woman. And Lamin Manjan says, very sensitive but important topic, challenging parents to open to their girl child on their health and personal matters. This great opportunity to enlighten, especially men, which is so important. That's why we said, we once we are educated, when we are informed, we will know what is happening around us. Because to be ignorant of your environment, no matter how fanciful degrees you have, and you don't know what is surrounding you, especially in your own house, that is catastrophic. And because of the stigmas, because of the sayings and religious dogmas, around menstruation, miseducation, sexism sometimes, around menstruation, many of our girls, missing schools, even though we are talking about women empowerment, these are small things. These are the foundations that we overlooked. And until we have these places right, these foundations, no matter how fanciful projects or policies we put around, they will not work. And I think, it is important also, so that we will engage, we will come to that, the policymakers, the people at high level, so that they can understand it. You don't have to go young girls into ransom, to give them, the sanitary products, selling in exchange for sex. This is difficult topics to discuss, but we have to say it as how it is. If not, the taboos and the barriers that are surrounded these things will remain. I'm going to go to Yase again. Yase, and we want to know the impacts of the period poverty, on our young girls, on our women, and all those things. But also educate us, because there's a lot of conflict also sometimes. You see, some people will just go out, especially men. I'm talking here, and they come whether the woman is in period and all those things. They want to sleep with them and all those things. These things might be, tell us, religiously we know where it is, but you can elaborate on that, health-wise, advise us, or what, and so that they can facilitate communication, because not all periods are the same. Some periods are your sword, your pen, your all those things. And here you are, you just come, this woman does not empowered enough, and they cannot say even no, so that men can know how these things feel, because maybe they are not empathized because they are not going through all these things. Sometimes period can be painful, it can have cramps, and then have all kind of things. But yes, go ahead, Yase. But first, the impact of period poverty especially on our school going girls, and our women generally in the Gambia.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you very much. We know the impact is very, very depending on where the girl
Fadu,
is.
last time your voice was good, and I don't know why. Okay, now good. It's coming now. Now get closer to it. That will be fine.
All right, I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
All right, Ibrahim, we were talking about something very, very important, and that is the impact it has on the girl child. That is why
Mhm.
we're saying we want to get them at the grassroots. We don't just want to use the top bottom approach, but the bottom top approach,
Yes,
starting from the schools, and that is where we get the boys and the girls. At this, when we talk to both the girls and the boys will understand the normal physiology that happens in a woman's body, so they develop that empathy from an early age, so that at least you know what your sisters are going through. You know that there's a certain time of the month that your sister or your mother is moody. Then when you have a wife, you will understand this kind of stuff. But a lot of men do not even know what their wives go through. They don't even know, okay, my wife is ovulating or my wife is about to menstruate and all of that. So when these conversations do not happen, then problems can emerge. So what happens is women need to know their period. That is why we said the education does not only stop at the hygienic part, when to change the pads and so forth, but we also teach them about the menstrual cycle, because the menstrual cycle has three phases, but we mostly emphasize on the ovulation. Remember, it's so important to know your menses, that if you know your menstrual cycle very, very well, you can use this as a family planning method. Because when you know, okay, at this time of the month I am very fertile, and if I have an intercourse with my husband or partner, I might get pregnant. We can use that as a family planning method, because we know there are certain women that do not take certain kinds of family planning methods due to one thing or the other. So we also teach them about their menstrual cycle. Another thing you asked about is menstruation and sex. Usually, we already know about the Islamic perspective of menstruation and sex, which says no. But for the medical perspective, okay, for some people it's normal, but we're saying, because at that time of the period, the woman is usually sore and there's a lot of shame and anxiety. Because what happens is when you're menstruating, we know our blood oozes out, and it's usually very uncomfortable for the woman to have sex during that time, because she'll be there. We all know when sex should be something enjoyable, and that both parties must have the right state of mind to have that sex. But if the woman is in pain and she's thinking about the linens will be dirty and so forth, so it does not become enjoyable. Another thing is we know a lot of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV and AIDS and hepatitis, can be transferred from one person to another through bodily fluids, including blood. So, research have also shown that when two people have intercourse during menstruation, there is higher tendency of transmitting this infection. So, usually, we advise people to abstain from sexual intercourse until the menstruation ends. So, another important thing is when a woman gets pregnant, we usually estimate the date that the woman should deliver. So this can only be calculated if we actually know when the last menstrual period of the woman was. But sadly or unfortunately, a lot of women, even educated, come to the hospitals. They cannot even remember when they last saw their menstruation. And we know Gambia is a developing country, and we don't have facilities like scanning in all facilities that would automatically help us to know your expected date of delivery, or at least know the gestational age. So what happens is it becomes very, very difficult for the midwife in Sami Karantaba or the midwife in Keneba to just know your exact gestational age. So it's very, very important. That is why we're targeting the girl child at an early age. At least we teach them their period. They'll be able to know how to track their period, and that when they will be recording it. Because what happens is uh, the applications have made it very, very easy. With your mobile phone, you can actually track your menstruation. You can know when you're to menstruate. You can know your ovulation. This can really, really help. And I am happy Ben talked about men's support during menstruation to the labor ward. We have been talking about maternal mortality. And Ibrahim, I would just like to touch because all of these things are interconnected. Ibrahim, I hope you're hearing me.
Get you.
Okay, Ibrahim, I was talking about
What you are saying now is a very, very important topic, really.
Yes, we were talking about maternal mortality, and when we talk about maternal mortality, there's a three delay step that we use, and one of the delays is delay in decision making. Ibrahim, we know we come from a society that men are the major decision makers of the home, so the delay actually starts at the home. Okay, when should the woman go to the clinic, even to book on antenatal? Because we know we have a lot of myths and taboos that stop our women from joining the antenatal. Now that the woman had joined the antenatal, even she is now expecting to deliver, the man is not there to provide the money, or the man is not there to give the go ahead for the woman to go to the hospital. So all of these delays are actually lead to maternal mortality. Another thing is companionship in labor. Research have shown that companionship in labor shortens the length of labor. What happens is Gambia is not fortunate like a lot of countries that the midwife that sees you during your antenatal is the same midwife that you will meet at the labor ward. There is high chances that the midwife you will meet at the labor ward will be a totally strange person. But if your husband is there, at least you have that support. You have someone to give you water to sip. You have someone to wipe away those tears and all of that. It actually helps shortens the labor. And as I think, I don't know, you or Ben were saying, usually when they come down to come, it's very, very difficult because these old women cannot even go a step. And we know when a woman is delivering, you need to go to the lab, you
Yeah.
need to go get something. So it's usually very, very difficult. So before, if you could remember, it used to be maternal and child health, MCH. So we came to see, okay, when it was maternal and child health, men felt it was a woman's thing. So they don't involve. So it's reproductive and child health. So usually, even in the villages, when you call for a meeting, you start talking about pregnancy, infant welfare clinics. You see all the men going out because they feel it's not their domain, and it's really, really, really a partnership. It takes two parties to have a child. So two of them need to be part of the process from the pregnancy to the delivery. Ibrahim.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yase. That's fundamental. I think men need to reflect because unknowingly or we are contributing, to the rate of the number of maternity death in that country, because if an old woman from Gunjur, my grandmom, never been to Banjul, was sent, we I sent with my wife to go to Banjul. What can she do? She cannot help, and might be probably by the time they call Gunjur, it will be too late for that individual. So that's why it's important we talk about these things, so that some of these misconceptions and these backward thinkings, we can shed away from them, and we can be partners, real partners, not sexual partners, but real partners to help each other, especially when we are in difficulties. And yeah, our Yombe, and I know only doing the part of it anyway. You do underwears and also, and you do the wash, that's the water, the sanitary and the health aspect. But the water also is important, because if you go to our schools, you know even if you have all the cards and all those things, you have to wash your hands, you have to have the privacy, to change yourself and all those things. And you can talk to us about using one pad throughout also, and then the importance of that, and the impact of that on menstruation. But we don't have toilet facilities for women, or the toilet facilities are not adequate enough, or the water, where the water is and where the toilet is, are a mile away, and all these things have is having impact on girls' usage of how they go about their menstruation. Can you talk to us about some of the things that you people are doing in order to address some of these things. Because, yes, it's good to have the parts, it's good to have the mental, the education, which are important, but, the schools also need to be aware so that they can know these are the needs of women, and it has to go in tandem with water, it has to go in tandem with, the good toilet facilities for their dignities and their privacies. Go ahead, Yombe.
Thank you, Ibrahima. And once again, it's not only down to providing the sanitary products and everything. Is trying to work together with the schools, making sure that there are good sanitary facilities around, because not every school has separate bathrooms for boys and girls. And even where there are separate bathrooms, are they hygienic? Is there access to clean water as well? Because there might be access to water, but there might be microorganisms within that water. How are they making sure that when the children are within the care, the school becomes the carer during the school hours, and they hold parental responsibility at that point for those girls. So they should be looking out for the girls. So we're gonna be talking to the school heads and everybody involved to make sure that they're providing these facilities for the girls, that the girl would feel that I don't have to miss school because I'm on my period, because I have to go and change my sanitary product pad, but there are no facilities on board. And another thing that we aim to do is we have a lot of businesses in Gambia. We're urging all businesses to come on board because every home has a boy, every home has a girl. Let's come together as part of their social corporate responsibility and sponsor or help in whatever way they can in this noble cause, be it providing water tanks in schools for girls to be able to have safe places in school to deal with the cleansing of themselves and changing during their cycles. And so we calling on all these companies and even the education ministry and everybody that wants to come on board. We urging you to come and join us in this fight, and then to educate the children as well as to how, like Yase said, and all of these other panelists did mention it before. But Fatou touch on something which is about in the girl wanting to access safe zones during their period and safe and access to sanitary products. Some girls have become victims of sexual exploitation, and there are many girls who have become victims of that. But because, like in everything in our society, things have become taboo. Certain things you don't talk about. A girl could even go to the mother and say, "I've been sexually abused because I asked uncle or a friend for money to buy sanitary product." Instead of the mom sticking up for the girl, the mom thinks that actually, if this gets out, it's gonna be shame on the family rather than dealing with it and addressing it. So that's why we encouraging everybody to have that rapport and discussions about periods and what leads on to it, like from puberty, what happens before a girl sees their period. If you have a daughter, speak to them so that they'll know and be aware of the dangers and everything. Even within the school, you have boys. If you go to a mixed school, boys could be doing what's called upskirting, and boys think it's funny. So we need to educate the boys in the school that upskirting and making a girl feel uncomfortable is not right, especially during the time of their menses. How do the boys in the classroom feel comfortable around the girl? If a girl says that, okay, I'm not feeling well, how do you support that girl without being cold? Because sometimes when a boy is very empathic towards a woman, they think that, oh, maybe you in love with that girl, or maybe you just being too feminine. It's not about being too feminine. It's about having compassion. It's about knowing how to help somebody when they're in pain, in need. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Nubian Queen. Really, that's fantastic. Really, and Fatoumata Coca says again, we need private toilets for girls in all school. He said business should start sponsoring schools, not only events. I think we need to start educating these the businesses and our leaders and all those things. But if this is how we brought up our men, no wonder they are messing up all the time at the top, and we need to reflect how we create, because we are creating is our products, that are doing all these things at the top level. Men, we need to rethink about how we model our men so that they can reflect, some of the things that are happening in our societies. And every mother, this should be our duties. Every father, this would be our duties. Tell these boys to respect women and all those things. If we have all these school toilets, these private toilets built by men, they don't know about menstruation. We don't educate them. No wonder they are building these kind of toilets in schools. Toilets that don't, because they're not thinking about girls, about menstruation and all those things. That's why those things are happening. So, once, if men are in leadership and we don't talk to them, we don't teach them at their boys level, about some of these things. These are some of the things that are going to happen because they're not going to think about it. Women are not involved in toilet buildings in schools. It is the men of the villages and the towns, like my town in Gunjur. Most of the toilets that are there is the men. You never see any woman participating in building those schools or designing those schools at even an initial level. So that's why they are building toilets that are not fit for purpose, toilets that are not built with the thinking that our girls might have these things and these things. That is their menstruation, which is it is pathetic, really. And I'm going to go to Fatou. Fatou, and you can talk to us about the menstruation health management, the disposals, and all those things, because we need to talk about all these things, and maybe whether you people are thinking about using local products so that we can reduce cost. Maybe we can teach our young girls and our young women how to make locally improvised, locally made pads, and they can use that, than sending the parts from here all the time to them, and environmentally that will be good, and that might give some of these women, especially the tailors and all that, we can give them contracts and create employment. They can make these things locally also. I think that's also very, very important than just to export, and we're making this economy bigger, and our people are kind of consumers, but we can teach our young women. You can talk to Rose about that, and this and menstrual health management also. You can talk to us, what are you, and the impact of if we don't teach our people, our environment, what it causes. This will come and affect everybody, not only women, and but not only women, but men also. Yes, go ahead, Fatou. You are mute, Fatou, just unmute yourself. Yes,
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Just to touch up on what Yamba was saying about the toilets. Mm-hmm. Like every school that we started working with, because we did it with St. John's, Yase went in. We don't just like talk to the school about what plans we have to have the girls, but then again we inspect the toilets. So when Yase goes into the school, she talks to them, but then she takes pictures of the toilets so that we can see firsthand what these toilets look like, and not just take the word of the school or the person that we are in contact with to say that the toilets are fine. And then we go back to the drawing board and look at what needs to be done, and then so that we can help redesign these toilets where it is fit for purpose. Because the toilets that we've have so far, they are definitely not fit for use. So, and another thing that I don't think if Ben was talking about it or no, it was Yase when she talked about for example, when women go into labor, that they have to wait for the husbands to bring the money or to make a decision about what is going to happen. This is Ibrahim, this is exactly why we need to keep girls in school. Because if we educate them to the point that they are, you know, they do not depend on anyone, they are self-sufficient, they have a job where, you know, they are able to make money to take care of themselves as well. You wouldn't wait for your husband to come to a hospital to pay, you know, the hospital bill, or to wait for him for anything. So this is exactly why we need to keep our girls in school, so that they are educated to the point that they are able to find job and then be, you know, self-sufficient. Regarding, can you guys hear me? Hello? Uh-oh.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
All right, great. Regarding their making of pads and, you know, cutting down on the import and plastic. So we've set up to have monthly workshops. That is what we are planning to do. We've already had 2 people donate 3 sewing machines, which is, you know, which is amazing. Yeah. So we are planning to have, like, for starters, to have monthly workshops where we invite people to come in and just volunteer, because we've already have the patterns for the pads, and we have like really good ones. There's a lady that lives here, and she also advocates for period poverty in Kenya. So she was kind enough to give us the sample that she, you know, that she used to make her pads, like the, what is it called again? Help me out. The pattern that she uses, yeah. The pattern that she uses for us to use that same one, and hers are really, really good, and they are very good quality. Like, you use them, they don't leak or anything. So that is the plan, to have monthly workshops where we have people come in and volunteer, and then, you know, just have a good day where we sit, chat, and make these pads for these young girls. In the long run, we would like for it to be something that we can employ girls and young women within the community, and then pay them, and then they will make these pads. And then, you know, in that way, we will be able to provide jobs for them, and they will be able to earn money in that way as well. There was another question that you asked. Can't remember.
I mean the menstrual health management, the disposals, and all those things, you know, which is very important.
So for the menstrual health management and disposal, you know, section part, Yase is more knowledgeable than I am in that area. So I'm going to hand over the question to Yase.
Yes, and before going to yes, that's fine. Before going to, yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, like the Wolof says, that is Yase's area. So I'm going to hand that one over.
That's fine. You're all fantastic. You know, you're doing very well. And, you know, once again, Badingol Balten Tulambal Jaila, Alim program was say, Purase Futamo Jamala, Bao Nyunkumaya, Baba Bakel, and Tenya close Langanya town. You know, when Nasukutundingol Dingol, you know, while Lambarin Dingol, Ibitakan through Ninela. You know, because, you know, I can't just imagine this was happening in my time in Gunjur, and it's still happening. Nothing changes in Gunjur Primary School for you know, for now. You know, this almost everything stays the same. You know, so, and these girls are going through this. No wonder they are dropping, you know, in drop, you know, from school. But we don't know, you know, we just don't know, you know, because, you know, manga. But signing that for, we know these are some of the things. Let's say at this program, you know, let's contribute and help these young women, you know, what they're doing, because this is fantastic. You know, they are saving life. They are saving our life. They are saving our moms and our sisters and all those things. You have a lot of infections. I think Yase will talk to us about the infections bit of it, you know, when you don't manage your menstrual, you don't manage it properly, you know, and the hygienist aspect of it, and people's dignity are being compromised. Women feel they are second-class citizens. You know, we deny them with education. We deny them with from having skills and all those things. And now they cannot even approach us to ask to save their dignities so that they can be productive to our societies. You know, we can see, you know, the backbone of that country is our women, you know, and we only men, we just messing up most of the time, you know, but, you know, we are the creation of that society. Something has to be reflected. Something has to change for that society to produce men that will be educative enough and think about all these things so that we can cater for our women, we can cater for our young girls' education, and we can talk about empowerment. Because when we have it wrong at this level, the empowerment, we will miss it once again. Mbaltin to lambalta yila. Allah sungar kodol place. Ali makoy, ali nyini makoy. Ali sungar kodol tangi. Say with these people. Ntetula no sungar otala ka sukuro da masang. Mbekura wala fala la. It can be good. But this time around, fending bondi je, ya de nyini fanana. Puri ya along ko it's a new extent, no? Because I want these people to come to Gunjur. Really speaking, I'm being a little bit biased here, but I want them to come to Gunjur, and help our people, and help our girls, and help our mothers and our fathers, and educate them, give them information so that we can reflect. So that in Salonko, at least in the funding, didn't will safe nyami. So that nimbe toilet sold that at school also. It's a new consider noko. We have to make these toilets somewhere where they can access water. The latrine should be good, and the water points, it should be located near the toilet. But we are not thinking about all these things because we are ignorant about these menstrual issues. So yeah, say,
Yes.
I'm going to come to you about one, menstruation and pregnancy, and what the menstrual health management, and what is the conversation around menstruation with some of your patients as a midwife, because maybe they will come and open to you because you're very, very nice and friendly to them when men are not talking to them, when nobody is talking to them, when they are in pain and they send them, be a woman, just do whatever you can. That's what all women are going through, and because that's what we do. We box all women. Their menstruation the same, their pregnancy the same, everything. We said, just man up, just woman up, and all those things, and do these things. And sometimes women do that to them also, not only men. We have to admit. Go ahead.
All right, Ibrahim. Just as you said, our society makes women superheroes. That any pain we should actually be able to take care of, even with labor. Like there's a sort of taboos and misconception that they will tell you don't shout because if you shout at your
Yeah, I say
family,
get closer to your your phone so that we can hear, because this is so important because you are on the ground with first-hand information there. So that's important. Yes.
all right, Ibrahim. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, what I was saying is that it's very, very important what you said that women are just allowed to make sure they endure every pain, whether it's menstruation. It even comes down to at the labor ward that even for them to express that they're in pain, we actually stop them from doing that. That if you cry, you'll be crying your whole pregnancy and all of that. So it's very, very sad. So you were saying the importance of menstruation. We all have to understand that if we don't menstruate, it becomes a problem. Reproduction will not be able to take place. And it's also important to talk to our women that it's not every at any point of time that you can get pregnant. There are specific days that you can get pregnant. So we talked about ovulation. Usually when you hear ovulation, this is actually the day that the egg is being released. We know that for reproduction to occur, we need the female gamet, that's the egg, and the male gamet, that's the sperm, to come together so that fertilization can occur. And it's not all throughout the menstrual cycle that ovulation happens. For instance, for women that have an average menstrual cycle of 28 days, usually ovulation occurs at the 14th day. So what happens is, 3 days prior to ovulation, on 3 days prior after ovulation, then you're more likely, there is higher chance of you getting pregnant, because this is the logic. What happens is, if you have an intercourse just prior to the ovulation, let's say the 11th of your menstrual cycle, the sperm cell stays in the human body for 72 hours. That's like 3 days, right? So, and we said for fertilization to occur, an egg and a sperm must come together. So, if the sperm is already there before ovulation and the egg meets the sperm during ovulation, then fertilization occurs. So, what happens to women that they don't know this happens, and maybe they're doing it at a time when there is no ovulation or there is no egg? So, that woman conceiving becomes a problem. So, Ibrahim, you see the importance of actually knowing your menstrual cycle. it can also help to determine your fertility. And usually what happens in low-income countries or developing countries, especially, and the Gambia is not an excuse. We have seen people that are even educated, but they have unplanned pregnancies. When we talk about unplanned pregnancy, this is not necessarily unwanted pregnancy. Unplanned pregnancy is you're pregnant, but you did not want that pregnancy at that time. So knowing your cycle will actually help you to plan your pregnancies. Okay, I want to have a child at this time. You and your husband sit together and you decide on when to have a child. Then that becomes a planned pregnancy. And usually a planned pregnancy have more outcomes that are productive, because at least you've been psychologically prepared for that pregnancy. You're really ready to have that pregnancy. But if it is unplanned, usually the problems, the consequences are much. So you were also talking about the management of menstrual hygiene. So we also talk to the girls about the period, the management, the hygienic part of it, when to change their pads. We said at the minimum, the pads should be changed every 3 hours. Because what happens is, if you've been using the same pad the whole day, the likelihood of infections is very, very high. And a short-term effect of that is you can have rashes all over. And we know the proximity of the reproductive system and the urinary system. We know the female anatomy. Where the blood comes out and where the urine comes out is different. But those 2 points are closely placed together, that for infection to descend from the urinary to the reproductive, or from the reproductive to the urinary, is very, very high. So we also teach the women on how to clean themselves. Because for examples, for example, when you're cleaning yourself, it should be from front to back. Because what happens is, the vagina has a normal flora. The way God created the woman, it has organisms that are actually good and protecting the woman. So we actually tell the women, the girls, that this menstrual blood is not that you need to scrupulously clean. And there's a lot of things that our women are doing, especially douching. When we talk about douching, this is taking a full cup of water and using it excessively. Or now we have the Muslim taps, that we use these Muslim taps and be cleaning ourselves. So what happens is, this removes the natural flora that is there. So it's just like these are guards that actually protect us. So if these are taken away, for infections to happen, it becomes easy. So another thing is, you see, we have been supplying girls. We are planning to supply them with underwears. What happens is, the ideal thing to do is, you have to have separate underwears just for menstruation. And that this underwears too, we also talk to them the kind of underwears we should wear. We see there are a lot of nylon underwears in the market. What happens with the nylon underwear is, that place is usually moist. And if you have a nylon underwear, the tendency that this microorganism grow, that's a favorable condition for the microorganisms to grow. And this might lead to infections, whether it's fungal infections, yeast infections, and this infection might affect the reproductive area. And this, if not taken care of, can lead to infertility, or can even lead to HPV. That's the human papilloma virus. And we know the human papilloma virus can cause cervical cancer. So you see what we are trying to prevent. We are trying to prevent a whole lot of things, Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Yase. That's so important, for you to go through those. I'm really, really open for you people to come anytime, because we need to step up our campaign and pluralize this information so that it can reach, if we are going anywhere outside the Greater Banjul, come to Gunjur, that's what I'm saying. And I will host you there, and I will be a very big ambassador for this. I'm in already. And definitely, I'm going to contribute part of my Ramadan money to you people. Definitely, I'm going to take that pledge here. Omar Rubiai says, I'm calling on all diasporan to set a fund for menstrual pad poverty in the Gambia. Our women deserve better. Definitely, sometimes when you say a woman, is you feel that is away from you, but this is your sisters, this is your daughters, this is your moms in your own household. These are the people that are affected with these issues, because we don't know about this. Just imagine we have our outside wanaks and all those things, and these women with their menstruation going taking bath, because some places in India, when women are going through their menstruation, they don't take bath, because of some of these issues that are there. Some people will just cast them out and put them in the donkey house and all those things, because they are bad omen for the families and all those things. Even though we are not that extreme, but our mentality is around these things, because I heard, when I was young, women with menstruation, when they cook, it's watery, it's not nice, and all those things. So these are some of the stigmas that's not true, because my wife always cook good all the time. So we need to come out and I'm going to ask Fatou, because we are almost 2 hours now, and I have to stop it from there before I round up everybody. Fatou, we need to have, because I know you have your sanitary bank or pad bank in Serekunda, in Banjul, or wherever it is. You can talk to us about that, and people who want to join and all those things, and the PayPal address is there, is in GunjurOnline. When you go there, or when you give information to GunjurOnline, we will reach out to you so that we can help this fantastic initiative. You can talk about the store, and how easy can people join you, and your sustainability.
Okay.
We'll talk about that, because we need to sustain these things. A failure of these is the failure of Gambians in general, and I think me and brother Ben will not allow that to happen, for this good initiative to fail. Talk to us about the store, where it is, so that those who are sending the pad, and they will know where to, you can send this part, that's what Fatou said last time. Preferably send the parts, and all those things, but not only the parts, send them the money, because they go out and educate people. Sometimes, they buy underwears and give it to these people. So to our girls, so they are saving life. Give them money, give them parts, give them underwears. There's a lot of parts in your stores that you don't need, you don't use. And by the way, if men can go and buy condoms, all the time, for their pleasure, why can't you go and buy a pad from Tesco? It doesn't cost you anything. The economic part is there, and all those things. Just go and pick it up, or help these people to initiate our local materials, so that they can produce these things locally, and that will empower these girls. Because imagine if you are making these and educating people, you will become educated yourself, and you will be empowered enough. And please, when those educations are going on, let's teach our boys also how to make parts, how to make these local parts, so that it's all part of their education and empowerment. Yes, go ahead, Fatou, and I will round up with all these people, and I will leave you to go.
Okay. Regarding the pads and the storage of it, if anyone wants to donate pad, we have half of the board members are living in the Gambia. So all you need to do is like those of us that are living in the diaspora, you can just put it in your yearly or 6 monthly or quarterly freights. And then when you send it to Gambia, just contact us. Our contact number or email is all on our Facebook page and Instagram. So if you contact us, we'll pick up those pads as well. And you talked about the sustainability of the charity. Like I said earlier, we're in preparation of like doing monthly workshops where we have people come in, and then later on we want to extend it into something that we can employ young women, and they can use that as a source of income. Another thing also that we are doing is we are opening up a charity store, a secondhand store, where we have clothing, household items, and office items, anything that we can sell. So we'll use this store and then sell these things, and then put the money back into the charity. So people who have clothing or shoes or anything to donate that we can sell, they can also just to save us the cost, like Fatma said the other day, put it in their stuff when they're freighting, so that when it gets to Gambia, they can just contact us, and then we'll pick it up and put it in the store, and then when we sell it, the money can go back into the charity. Because we know people do donate, and we appreciate all the donations that have come in. But sometimes people are in a point where they are unable to give out cash donations. So we really do appreciate the pads as well. If you're donating pads, it can either be the disposable pads or the reusable ones, because people are now moving more towards the reusable pads. Like here, I've seen so many kids in Scotland here, they are not buying the disposable ones because of the plastic. They're trying to save the environment. And we want to do that as well. But then again, we have to put into consideration the realities of, of our people as well. So we have to start from somewhere. And that somewhere is we are starting with the disposable pads, but eventually we will want to move away from that and, move into the reusable ones. Kids are using it here. They're no longer using the plastic ones. They buy the reusable pads, use it, clean it, dry it, and then use it again. So, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Fatou. I'm going to go to Yombe, and Yombe, can you just give us your last words and your advice, to Gambian generally, and might be to educate them that women at the moment, some of them are using cow dungs, for their parts. Some of them are using all kind of papers, newspapers they glean from the street and all those things. This is how serious the situation is. And these are not, the divorce of infection. They have a lot of infection that are going on all around. And these are our wives. If they are infected, we will going to be infected one way or the other. So talk to us about that and give your last word to and say, to our viewers all over the world.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, and GunjurOnline TV for hosting us, and everybody watching and everyone listening as well. And thank you to my fellow panelists. Like we said before, we want everybody to come on board and join this fight to help end period poverty in schools and in educating the children in school. They then transmit them what they've been taught back into society, and everybody's aware, and we all come together to fight something that has become a stigma and a taboo to even talk about or even be seen or heard in our community. So we urging everyone, male, female, we're in this as a partnership. We can't do it without our male counterparts. So we asking and urging everybody to come on board, the corporations, to fulfill fulfilling their corporate social responsibility, to try and join the fight in ending period poverty. They could help in different ways by providing water bottles or renovating toilets in schools, or even providing the sanitary products, like be it the reusable ones or the disposable ones. And if anybody is knowledgeable in this area that can volunteer as well, we calling everybody to come on board. And it's a natural occurrence. Women shouldn't feel the need out of desperation, like he said, Ibrahim, to be using cow dungs, like dirty clothes and stuff like that, in order to save their dignity, whilst being in the state of where people call a state of impurity. It's a natural occurrence. So it is something that goes on for every woman that reaches the age of puberty. So we urging everybody to come on board and support this and join in the course. Thank you, and thanks again for having us. And thank you for the donation and the support that you gonna be giving to the charity and everything. This is for everybody. Like, it's not only down to the EPPIS board members and the mentors. Everybody's welcome in the EPPIS family. It's a whole thing that we all thrive in to help every single girl stay in education and have the right facilities, sanitary wise, and the knowledge and everything, in order to be like partners in society and bridge the gap in gender disparity. Thank you.
We're very appreciative of this initiative you are taking. this is a global movement. It is not only in the Gambia. So for you people to bring this to the corridors of our country is fantastic. Even in the UK, it's all over the place. People are campaigning for this to preserve, to maintain the dignity of our women. When the women's dignity is respected, men's dignity is respected, because women are our mothers. That's what we have to emphasize. These are our mothers, and Auntie Hadimboj says, well done to all of you girls, and I'm going to Yase finally, talk to us about the importance of this movement, this charity, on health, on empowerment, on well-being, and women's confidence and their potential to realize it. Sum it up for us in simple terms. Before I go to Brother Ben, there might be people like Fatoumata Kokas and Mam Lenger, they will pick these things up, and help this cause, so that we can put pressure to the people at the top, the health ministries and the businessmen that are benefiting a lot in their corporate responsibility, not only to organize fancy programs, but these are the keys that we need to do. Yes, go ahead.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you very much. I'll just, as Awa said, thank you very, very much, because this is a partnership. If you had not given us this forum, we would not have been able to disseminate this information, and a lot of people would not have heard about EPPIS and to donate. So on this note, we'll conclude. Thank you. As you were saying, it's very, very important, because when we talk about period poverty, as we said, it's not just the lack, but the access also to these products. Let us just not just cut it off that this does not happen. Ibrahim, this really happens. Not everybody is privy to have these things, and I am a living witness. I have been brought up in the urban areas and all of that, but I did most of my postings in the rural areas. So you are shocked that after delivery, because as a practicing midwife in the urban areas, you like just buy pad and do this. So the moment they finish up, you just give them the pad and they use it, and that's fine. But I can say in the rural area, out of 10 women, maybe at most 2 will have sanitary pads. And we know this goes on, this infection, it goes on from childhood to adulthood. And when we talk about maternal mortality also, Ibrahim, I'll always be echoing maternal mortality as a midwife, because we want to see a Gambia whereby we cut off the maternal mortality. And one of the major causes of maternal mortality is sepsis, infection, due to in the women not being able to access this product. So it's very, very important. We are not only stopping at providing, but the education. And I would like to especially thank Brother Ben, because with Brother Ben on board, it had actually brought in a lot of men to at least listen to us, that this is not only about a woman affair, but it's everybody's business. So it's not business as usual. And I just want to leave it at there's nothing about us without us. So we'll encourage everybody on board, and we're thanking everybody that took it out of their busy schedule to listen to us and just to donate. If you cannot donate with cash, you can always donate with kind. And to the other panelists, thank you for the good work we're doing. Ibrahim, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. And you should be proud of yourself. And as Yase, Ben is too powerful. I can't say no to him. When he said, Ibrahim, give people these people the platform, I only said yes, I will, because the man is so honorable and so consistent. And anything Gambia, especially anything good about that country, Bell is the ambassador of it. I've been following for a long time. Even I can't just say no to him, really speaking, especially, and I know, because I know anything that he want me to get in is for the good cause. And I'm learning a lot from this, and I will do my part. And all those who are on this platform, I want you to donate this fantastic initiative for the sake of your girls, for the sake of our women, for the sake of our moms. What they went through, we don't want our daughters to go through those. We see the impact of a lack of education, what the cause of it, we can just elaborate on those. I think say after the Ramadan, I will bring you here to talk about maternal mortality, because I've been talking to a lot about that, and which frustrated me a lot. Brother Ben, I'm coming back to you, sir. Thank you for letting me know about this initiative. And you can say your last word, and you can give us your advice as always, especially the main part, and the institutional heads, their contributions, what they can do, because this program will be said, and I'm a lot of people are going to see this program, so that at least it will be a moment of reflection to them. They can say, wow, this is what has been happening. Because I was reading Gambian things about all this, and sometimes girls don't even eat. They don't eat so that they don't go to toilet in schools and all that. That's pathetic. So knowing these things, Ben, I'm really embarrassed. I can have my sisters and all those. I know my grandfather will normally say to my sister, I am the priority. My education is first, and hers is not a priority. I know that. But that, these girls, my sisters will go to school, they will not eat because they don't want to go to toilet and all those things. That's a really, really bad commentary on our society. But I didn't know. So, because of this project, because of this, I was doing a lot of research around this. And, the more I read, the more I become embarrassed, and the more I'm committed to get myself in, so that my daughters and my sisters, my nephews in the Gambia, they don't go through, what women are going, throughout their life in the Gambia. Go ahead, Brother Ben.
Thank you very much, Brother Ibrahim. I will say thank you for being an excellent host. Thank you to GunjurOnline. You took your time and educated yourself within this short period. This shows how much you're passionate about what you do. But again, as you said, the more you learn about it, the more passionate you become. But I'll just give you an example. I am in the process of removing my front teeth. And right now I've got gaps and everything, but that does not stop me from coming out here and to be on video, to speak to people, because we have to understand this change. This change have to be led, and have to be led by us. And this take men and women. And the issues that we take on here are the issues that will bring about the change. The change, it's not actually where we think the change should be, up there. The change should have to start from bottoms up. Yes, the period of change will come of the up, but if we really mean to change meaningfully, we have to change ourselves, and we have to change from the bottoms. Just an example, and this is the message that I want us to send to policymakers. Once we started this, we started this change about taking period poverty. What we are doing is we are bringing out policy. We are changing policy. We are changing mindsets. We are changing mindsets not only on about period poverty, but it's changing the mindset of how we interact and interrelate. And as you said, we are talking about period poverty now. We are talking about maternal mortality, and we are talking about victimhoods. We are talking about other things. And once we inform ourselves, we take ownership of the problem. And once we take ownership of the problem, then we'll find out what the problems are, and we'll find solutions. And once we all come together to find solutions, those solutions will be found, and we'll make sure the will be there to bring about the change. That's why it's important today we are taking this leadership to have this conversation in order to bring about this change. And we are doing it together. Doing it together, men and women, to work on this. Imagine the students today in schools having this education, this awareness. Both men and women will become the headmasters of schools, will become the teachers of schools, will become the policymakers of schools, will be the designers, the architects. To design our toilets and our buildings and everything. These are the students that will become the politicians. What's the point of having politicians where they're not informed? We don't have empathy for women. We don't see women as equal. You see, if we want to bring about the change, we have to use different approach. And the education, when we talk about it or talk about the politics, it's not about pointing to the hardcore politics, but we have to simplify it to come to our daily needs and our daily behaviors and everything else. That's why I'm appealing to those businesses, and this initiative will come out and will seek their help, and will do it a very strategic way and give them ownership to bring about the change. And we remember, we have to start from somewhere. Everything will have a base, and the base cannot be far from where you are. That's why today it's where it is. It's from the UK here, it's from the Gambia, it's from certain parts in the Gambia, in particular the UK, because the people involved, that's where they are. But those people are taking the position of leadership to be the foundations, and they don't own this project, and they don't own this initiative. It is something they thought about, it's something they're passionate about, something they're starting, and they're giving the ownership to every one of us, Gambians and non-Gambians, any sympathizer, wherever you are, to be part of this process. And once that is cemented, then this is a nationwide project, and especially at areas that are less fortunate. We are not only talking about Gunjur. Gunjur is even far around the urban areas now. It's an urban settlement. We are talking about every corner of that country we want to get in. In that sense, we expect every person, everybody that have access to this information, to pass the information around, to educate other people, to give as much as they have, and in order to empower this. Once we empower this, that's the fastest way we can get to every corner of this the country. Is we have to take ownership of this. Just as Yassi has said, when she said that word, if you don't have your meds, how many people would be comfortable? How many women would be comfortable? Probably not certain part of their life, they have started to miss or not to have it anymore when they are not even to the menopause. How many would come out? Might be a sign of other things. That's why it's important that we have this conversation. But once more, thank you very much for hosting a brilliant program. And I thank you. I thank my sister, Fatou Rahman, for taking this initiative and hosting this. And you both did it brilliantly. You took your time, you educate yourself more, and you put your passion out there, to empower this to where it is. I am calling up to Gambians, organizations, individuals, businesses to partnership, to collaborate in order to make this initiative a success. I am calling for us, all of us, to be proud of, to be able to stand and talk about issues that we consider taboo, especially what we're talking about today, ending period poverty, and make it a brand that people would understand and people would know. And thank you very much to the initiators for coming up with this idea. Ideas are easy to find. The most difficult thing is to have the courage and to bring it out so that other people can take ownership of that. And until we do that, people take ownership in it, we cannot spread the word, or we can build that foundation. And until we build that foundation, we won't be able to grow, because we only grow where is fertile. That's why we are putting the seed today in the soil of the Gambia, and for it to grow in every corner of the Gambia. What we are calling up today in that fertile soil of the Gambia, that we put the seed to fight against period of poverty, is calling up for other Gambians to come out and water the plant so that we can all benefit from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brother Ben. Thank you so much, ladies. What you have to be proud of yourself. You've initiated something that is going to live, forever, in our societies. And I hope, you have it easy in your journey. I hope all the listeners and those who are going to watch this program later on, to sit and reflect and scan for their environment, that some of these things that we are discussing are happening or were happening in their surroundings without your knowledge, without you thinking about it. If we continue with that ignorance, even at the helm of our country, we are not going to think about women issues. We are not going to think about menstruation. We are not going to think about period poverty. The implication of that is, when we are building toilets, we are going to build toilets that are not fit for purpose. When we are sitting down, women are losing schools in droves. We're not going to assess, maybe we're just going to stigmatize them and that they are lazy, they drop out from school. But these are our own creation. These are social barriers that are man-made, and we can fight against them and break these taboos and this silence and this discrimination and this sexism around women, around menstruation. Thank you, young women. You have to be proud of yourself and go and sleep and keep laughing the whole night today and throughout, because you've initiated something that is a legacy in the Gambia. Once again, thank you. Welcome to GunjurOnline, and we appreciate it. Get to us at any time you want. Our listeners, I'm saying thank you to all of you for your patience, for your dedication, for your contributions. Once again, we appreciate hugely in your contributions, your patience, and your following this great platform. Thank you. And thank you to our technician and the boss of GunjurOnline, Lamin Jammeh, and Mr. Jammeh of America, Fadembo. Thank you so much.
EPPIS.com. EPPIS is a newly launched online store brought to you by Kadijaba to the Senegambian African community. EPPIS will sell all your ethnic products at a reasonable price, just under one click. Visit our friendly online site where you can buy products from clothing, groceries, fashion accessories, African and Caribbean food, all under one roof. EPPIS is also providing a door-to-door delivery service to your families in the Gambia. Tell your friends and families back home, EPPIS is here for easy and hassle-free shopping on www.EPPIS.com. Any information, contact our friendly admin. We're here to help. EPPIS is our own.
Sponsor a Gambian girl through SAG Foundation. We are placing girls on the path to success through education. Our aim is to realize a Gambia where every girl is given equal access to education to reach their full potential. This is how we do it through our model of effecting generational systematic change. This is Amy. She is not in school, an underprivileged girl excluded from school due to lack of financial support. The SAG Foundation enrolled her into school, and she is equipped with all the essential resources to have a quality education. Amy is now making a difference in her community. Amy is now contributing towards the generational systematic change. Education changes everything for a girl.